This can be only explained, Congressman, as terrorism, political terrorism against a movement. The MAGA movement don't like to behave as victims, but are victims now. The intended effect with fake bomb threats, with shootings, with the murder of members of MAGA. The reality is this is the most victimized political movement in modern history.
It is, and you really have to look at some of the history of how this happens. You know, the CIA was under investigation, I think, and they discontinued the program in 1961, I believe, or 63, I can't remember. They, it was before I was born, but they had a group of folks that would get together and CIA, of course, they bring somebody in, they brainwash them, use psychotropic drugs, psychedelic drugs, what have you, and then brainwash them and make them capable of doing things with certain suggestions. You know, they pick up a phone and hear a certain word, something would happen. Well, and they said it didn't exist. They got sued, and then they were forced to admit they were doing it, and then they said that they weren't doing it anymore. So you got to ask yourself, are they still doing it or not? Because they lie. All they do is lie. We know that, and they hide it behind national defense, just like they do every other issue that they don't want to disclose. UFOs, anything else, they don't want to discuss it. Oh, it's national defense. We can't discuss it. So, but you fast forward now, and you have a segment of society that's mentally infirm. You've got these transgenders. You've got people that are psychologically on the edge. And certain things trigger them, and they continue to trigger them, and they continue to say these awful things. They show Donald Trump on the cover of a magazine with a Hitler mustache, things like that. They call him Hitler. They talk about need to be eliminated, these code words. And you've got to ask yourself, is this an orchestrated movement of what is going on right now? It doesn't have to have, you don't have to have 1,000 people. You have one person that whispers in the ear of an editor, one of these talking heads. All they do is regurgitate it and get paid $6 million a year to do it. And then knowing that somewhere out there in the vastness of this country, somebody will fit that profile. And here you got it. Again, this kid on the roof of this building, you say, Burchett, you're a conspiracy theorist. Well, it's hard not to be a conspiracy theorist when within hours of them blowing this guy's head off on this building in Pennsylvania, they're up there, FBI agents hosing the crime scene down. I don't know about where you are, but in East Tennessee, where I grew up, if there's a murder scene, I mean, they've taped it off. They're putting up tents. They're bringing in all the forensic people. And it was a bunch of souvenir hunters just within a matter of hours out there on a crime scene. And one that would obviously generate worldwide publicity. Then you get the same guy again, same situation. He's in a golf course. He's there 12 hours prior to it. I was at a football game in East Tennessee. Last couple of weeks I've been to them, and they have drones. I mean, literally they fly over and can see the part in my beautiful head of hair, and they can spot you could clearly see who I was. Yet you've got a guy who's the party's leading candidate who will be the next president of the United States if they don't steal it. And they don't have a $1,500 drone flying over him. They don't have capabilities of heat signature where they can spot somebody in those bushes. They can spot a rat running through there, obviously a human being. And if this guy had the proper training and had cut a hole in that fence instead of sticking his gun through like trained snipers will do, we'd be having a different discussion right now, Benny. I'm very much afraid of that. And that's what we're looking at right now. Now, you've got to, and I'm sorry I'm talking so much, but I'm jacked up. I've had a Mountain Dew. And you have my buddy Brian Mast on there, who is incredible patriot. Love him. Sat beside him in foreign affairs. He left there to come be on your show. And so here I am. Imagine the irony. But going back to my original premise, you've got all this going on, and knowing that America believes in conspiracy, and yet they do nothing to squash that. You've got Secret Service at a $3 billion with a B, $3 billion a year budget, I believe over 6,000 employees. The vast majority of them are just bureaucrats. Now, the other job of Secret Service, of course, is policing our the counterfeit bills out there. They ought to take that and put it over in Treasury. They ought to go through that department. I've been saying like Grant through Richmond, but apparently some of my Southern folks get ticked off about that. So I'm going to say they're going through that like Moses through the Red Sea. And that's what we need to do through that department. We need to clean it up. Yeah, all we did when Director Cheadle left, and I called her a DEI horror story. My buddy Riley Gaines always makes fun of me in my redneck voice and quotes that back to me. Her and her husband do. But the truth is, she was a DEI horror story. So they hired the number 2 guy. And what is he? He's just a product of the same problem. They had a Secret Service down in Miami who's investigating this or whatever, who's supposed to be over this thing. He was told to take down his anti-Trump tweets before they would hire him for this. This whole thing just stinks. They need to clean house. These people are not supposed to be political ideologues. They're supposed to defend the person they're assigned to the death. And we're seeing some real problems there, Benny. And I think it's a culture problem. We need to clean house.